tell people all the time, we haven't discovered sliced bread. We just try to do things that processes that we know that it work. SEO, Google doesn't give you a playbook on SEO. They
Oh,
really don't help you a lot, nor does Meta really help you a lot on the paid side. With their good and paid program, they're good at taking your money. But we have processes that we follow that we know have worked with our clients. And then we're always testing new things.
welcome back to another episode of Savage Angel with Angela Savage Giles. And I have my incredible guest, Todd Baldwin, here. I was so excited to talk to him today. I told him that I was looking forward to this because he speaks the same language as me. And I'll let him explain when he tells you a little bit about what he does. He is with the Everyday Media Group. So, Todd, back to you.
Yeah. Hey, Angela, thanks for having me on.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So we're a full service digital agency, right? And so what that means in our world, we do a ton of web dev, build a lot of sites. We host and maintain a lot of those sites that we build as well. And then we do lead generation, right, for our clients. So a lot of Google paid ads, Facebook paid ads, a lot what I call high end real SEO work, search engine optimization, Google business profile, just trying to generate leads for our clients when their ideal clients out searching for them, right? Been doing it for years, love lead generation, love digital marketing and working with our clients.
So I love that, Todd, because we speak the same language. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is I help a lot of service based industries as well as you do. I would like to talk about, like, with AI coming forward, how has that impacted the search engines? How has that impacted SEO and Google My Business?
Well, that's a great question because AI is definitely not going away, right? It's here to stay.
Right.
So a lot of our clients are getting leads off ChatGPT. We have two different brands, Everyday Media Group, and another brand called Investor Nitro. We get leads from ChatGPT. And really, I think the reason why we've always put a really high premium in content when we do
Hmm.
our SEO work. And so by really valuing that content, we've always been a big believer content is king with Google. And so really these AI models, right? Large language models, they're scraping from directories, Google being other sources on the web. Reddit's another big one too. But by us really putting a premium in that content, I think it's helped us get ahead of the curve. And as far as our clients starting to get leads and being found in Chat GPT, they don't even know they're getting leads, a lot of them, until we tell them. So that's been cool and exciting. But really just doing SEO the right way from the beginning, premium on content, spend a lot of time on that content has really helped us get ahead of the game. As far as the SEO, I mean, we're seeing some of the big shifts right now that we're seeing websites, we're seeing less clicks to websites from our clients
Interesting. Why
than in
is
past. But a lot of that is coming from the AI overview that Google is now showing too. And probably I read recently, 60, 70% of searches will have this AI overview at the top of the page. What does that mean? Well, people are getting answers to their questions right out of the gate. So that may stop them from actually searching any further and actually clicking on websites looking for those same answers. So it doesn't mean your campaign has gone backwards in lead generation. It's just a shift in this AI information being populated on Google. So that's something we've had to kind of walk through to our clients because the metrics look funny, right? Usually you're looking for more impressions, more clicks.
right, right,
You
right.
want to see that growth. It's shifting out to where we're seeing decreases, but that doesn't mean our conversions are going down. In our world, we'll track conversions by channel. So if we're running paid ads, we can tell you, hey, this came from Google. Same thing, hey, it came from Facebook, or this came from an organic search. Now we'll see ChatGPT in those same conversion data that we look at. So that's really cool to be able to, break it down by channel.
Well, I really like that. And I always think he's great. Perry Belcher, he's like the king of anything new that comes around. I recently took his AEO certification class through him. And it was really interesting to me how, if you want to be found in the AI search engines like Claude, ChatGPT, etc., you have to understand that, just like you said, if they're searching in Google with an AI overview, more people are also searching in AI search engines. So how can you show up? And I think one of the interesting things you said is content, right? Because it's not
Right.
content just from Reddit and other places, it's content from all of the social channels too. And so are you finding when you're doing a search for your clients, for example, in like ChatGPT, if you just, go on an incognito and pull up ChatGPT, are you finding if you search their name that they bring up references from any social media channels?
We've seen some social media references. really, another big key is your Google business profile is really
Okay.
become more important than anything is showing up in ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is a leader by far as far as consumer usage, right? It's got the most eyeballs. There's definitely other ones out there. You mentioned Gemini, Perplexity, there's Grok, but that profile is important because trust is a big, big thing with AI. And so having reviews is more important than ever. Actually, having a process to gather 5-star reviews from real clients. That trustworthiness is huge on the AI model. So having your profile filled out properly, being posting on that Google business profile, all of that will help you in your AI model or showing up in the AI models as well. As far as social media, pushing content is always great. So the better you're at pushing that out on social media channels, to me, is only a plus, right?
Well, I think
Keep in
it's
mind, I mean,
go
Angela,
ahead.
everybody's pumping AI, everybody's promising the moon, everybody's using it as a sizzle, right? The old saying, "Sell the sizzle, not the steak." Might show my age there, but nobody's got it figured out, right? And so, if someone tells you that, "Hey, we've got it all figured out," and they start promising the moon, those to us are red flags. This reminds me so much of SEO 15 years ago. And how do I get on page one of Google, right? Keep in mind, like, if nobody has a vetted process. There are people ahead of the curve. There's people doing a lot of testing that are seeing trends and things that are working. If someone tells you, "Hey, AI is 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3," I would be very leery of doing business with that type of agency.
Well, I think you bring up an interesting point. When I was in that certification class, they flat out said what we're teaching you now may be changed in 90 days because everything is changing so fast. But I find it really fascinating that you said you need to make sure that you have your Google My Business. Like it's really important, be putting in updates, etc. What would you tell someone? Because I have a client that I've had for years that I maintain their social media and do updates on the Google My Business. And their reviews, they have some reviews that aren't great. What would you recommend for that kind of person, especially now that, ChatGPT is gathering all that information and they're gonna show it, right?
Yeah, well, what we tell our clients and what we try to practice as well, and we struggle too at times, but it's just have a process where you're always asking for reviews when you have a positive experience with your client, right? You finish a job, service home business, they're happy. That's when you want to ask, right? And push those out. There's a lot of tools out there that automate that process for you too. But it can also just be simply, and we've done this for clients, just copying your link to your Google business profile or Google My Business. They change the name all the time,
I know.
right? And then just crafting a really simple email and sending it out to your client, and then making sure you're following up with them. You can automate that to where it'll follow up 2 or 3 times, and then leave them alone. Then it'll leave your review. But if someone on your team is asking for reviews, you make it easy for them to get a review via text, email. I mean, all I got to do is click on the link. It opens up to your profile. I can hit 5 stars, write the review. Then you'll start to get reviews. And the other thing I always tell clients is you don't want 20 reviews in a week. Google will think they're spamming. So
Well,
just
that's
look at it. If I can get 2 to 3 reviews a week, at the end of the year, I'll have 24 or 36. And then just start repeating that process year over year. Obviously, hey, if I can get 5 a week, at the end of the year, I'll have 60 reviews. It's just a process of constantly doing it. And then obviously Google mixes up the reviews. I mean, when they come up one year, last week, you can look and you can default where you usually go look and order, but they shuffle it up. So there's not much you can do to get a review taken off. That's another thing. People try to sell that service. I'd be leery of that too. But you can start stacking good reviews, and eventually that rating will start to go up. And there's a
well,
big belief that some bad reviews make you look more legit.
right, that's true. So this person in particular, they were a service-based industry. They got so busy that they just couldn't handle the influx of calls, conversation,
Sure.
proposals. So some people got angry and would say, "Well, you never showed up or you promised this and this proposal and we never got it." They have like, 5 or 6 of those kind of just reviews that aren't great. And it's like, okay, well, how do you handle people like that? And I think what you're saying is really smart where you just constantly are asking your clients that are happy for reviews. And so ultimately it will sort of override the ones that weren't so great.
When we start asking our own agency, we get reviews. If we're not getting any reviews, because we're not asking. So the other thing too is really important is reply to your. If you get a bad review, Google lets you do an owner reply.
Right.
Always reply to that bad review, not to where you want to get into a argument with someone who left you a bad review, but it gives you an opportunity to present your case. I'm a huge believer the public gives you the benefit of the doubt for because there's a lot of crazy people out there, right? Let's just
Trust
be
me, I
real.
know.
And people that are they take pride in giving bad reviews. So always reply back. The public will give you the benefit of the doubt if they see that pattern of actually replying back. Shows you're a business owner that cares. And reply back to positive reviews too. That's another thing too, to be active on that profile. Trust is huge. Like I say, it's huge in the AI models.
So, one of the questions that I have for you is if someone has a service based business and they've tried a few different things and now AI's come in and it's honestly, I mean, it's shuffling things around. The way we do things is different now to some extent. What would you recommend the very like the top 2 or 3 lead gen sources right now today on what are we November 20th or 19th whatever we no, we're the 20th. I just looked at my phone. On
We
November
are the
20th,
20th.
2025. What would you recommend to people to do if they just had a, maybe they're just getting started or they've had some bad juju from a different agency, what would you recommend as the top
You
2
know,
lead gen sources?
when you're just getting started, that's typically budget's the biggest issue,
Yeah,
right? So, and sometimes we just tell clients are not ready for what we provide just because they're too new and they don't have a budget. You can't spend $500 a month for a plumbing business or a flooring business on Facebook ads or Google ads and expect to have results, right? It's just not going to work. Not enough traffic or not enough budget to get traffic to optimize. But if they have a budget, they've had a bad experience, they've been in business, they know marketing works, they're believers. Yeah, I still think it's the same building blocks we've been doing. I think Google Ads is very can be very powerful if done right. I love the flexibility of being able to change budget, being able to pick the times of days. Same thing with Facebook ads. It's a whole different model.
yeah,
It's targeting. I know that's what you really specialize in. I think organic is huge because you don't have to pay for that traffic. You're going to pay an agency typically to do that work for you. But if you can start ranking on page one and start stacking those keywords, you're going to get good solid leads. We feel like the organic leads or our clients tells us the best lead that comes off of Google, right? And so you're not paying for that traffic. I mean, you're not paying every time someone clicks on your listing like you do for a paid ad when they click on your ad. A good organic strategy should translate into giving positive results on ChatGPT. Again, they're pulling that data, right? My my right hand guess is they're just ripping off. They're stealing data from
yeah.
other sources. It'll be interesting if that ever stops. But and then so I don't think anything's changed as far as what to do because you're not going to magically just show up if you don't have any presence on Google or even Bing, you're not going to show up in the AIs, right? You're not going to be in those first selections. And then the other thing, I lost my train of thought though, but to me, I don't think there's any. I tell people all the time, we haven't discovered sliced bread, right? We just try to do things processes that we know that it work. Take SEO. Google doesn't give you a playbook on SEO. They
No,
really don't help you a lot on the paid side, nor does Meta really help you a lot on the paid side. With their good and paid program, they're good at taking your money. But we have processes that we follow that we know have worked with our clients, and then we're always testing new things. Same thing you and I talked about last time with Meta. You're testing all the time, right?
we have been. So, I have a question for you because 'cause I'm a really big organic believer as well. Do you actually offer that service to your clients where you'll build out, like, their organic content on, like blogs, things like that, and FAQs and, social media?
Oh yeah, we do all the heavy lifting, so it's all a do it for you program, right? But yeah, blogs are still important. We're still a big believer in blogs. You can get some really great traffic. Blogs with all these AI overviews, they may not be as important down the road, but it's still again, content is still king. So yeah, we build out all your content. We build the sites all unique content. You don't want any duplicate content on there. We can take that and also post that on the social media channels as well. We can do just a posting. I call it social media evidence, right? Where you're actively showing that you are posting on your business. Because I am a big believer too. If you go to Facebook and see business and they haven't posted in a long time, how active are they, right? And so, yeah, to answer your question, we will take care of all that for you. And FAQs, always building that FAQs as
Yeah,
well.
that's really important.
I give you an example. I was at a conference and they were talking about AI, and it's for real estate investors, people who buy and flip, fix and flip homes, right? And he was like, how to show up on AI. His big thing was make sure you have schema markup on your site.
Yep.
And there
I
were people who were like they'd never heard that. That's been around. for
For
years. That's
you.
like a concrete pillar of proper SEO, right? But because someone said it in AI text, I thought it was some like new revolutionary thing, right? And really, it's not. That's where it kind of goes back to, be careful of everybody pumping at AI because it's the new buzzword, right? Everybody's pumping it. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. A lot of that, if you've been in business for years, should already be done to your site. All that should already be on your site,
So,
right?
Todd, I heard this statistic when I was getting certified in AEO that only 12 point something percent of websites actually have schema.
Is that
Me
crazy?
Well, and that's crazy to me, and they told me now once again, he said this could change in 90 days, but at this time, what they're seeing is if you wanna get ranked higher in, like, the ChatGPTs, etcetera, the first step is to do schema on your website.
Right. It's just a code on there. It tells Google
Yep,
what the site's about.
that's exactly it, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like, that's like, it's a no-brainer, and it's not hard to do, at least I don't think it's hard to do, but
I don't think it's hard to do either. I'm not the one doing all that heavy lifting.
yeah.
So my clients, or if I'm talking to people, you don't want me running your campaign. That's why my joke, I gotta hire really smart people, smarter than me to run all those campaigns. But no, it's not rocket science. It's just a YouTube video away from how to go in and put that onto your site properly. But yeah, it's crazy that was. I was reading some comments after that conference, and one of the big takeaways this guy said, he's a really well known person in that group, was schema market. And I just chuckled. I thought that was funny. I haven't heard that stat. 12%, 12,
Yeah,
thirteen
that's what
percent.
yeah, it was like
That's
12 point.
like a lot of opportunity out there then.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like, I think it's so funny because what you said is I mean, there was I don't even know, over 100 people in this class. I think just, like, all the screens were full, like, you kept scrolling, scrolling, and they said 12 point something percent of schema in the United States, and I'm like, "Well, hello, if you're a service-based business of any kind, that's the first thing you need to do because it's gonna put you, miles ahead of your competition searching AI." And I also heard that, you know, they're searching in AI people are searching in AI more than they are on Google right now. And I also heard, and, this is what I heard, so you could verify or not verify that Google for the first time is starting to run ads on TV. I don't watch a lot of TV, so, but I just thought, wow, that's super interesting how all of this is going to play out. So my
Yeah,
first thing is when I ask people, I'm like, do you have schema on your website? And they look at me with a deer in their headlights.
yeah, no, it's that's very interesting because we now that schema's becoming this buzzword, but it's on all of our proposals, like SEO proposals, schema market, things that we're going to do if we're building a site, or even SEO if we're inheriting the site, but proper schema market, people glaze over that. Rarely they ask, "Hey, what's the schema mean?" But most business owners, that's why we're in business, right? They need help, right? But to go back on that point, you mentioned the television commercial, because I noticed that during the NBA finals, which would have been back in June, basketball NBA finals, and I just sat there and I like, did I just kind of not paying attention? Like, was that a Google commercial? I actually rewound and watched it, and so I've seen several since then. But I can't remember last time I saw Google advertising on national TV. But their tagline now is "Just Ask Google," right?
Right?
Because AEO, Ask Engine Optimization, right? There's a lot of acronyms. GEO, Generative Engine Optimization. What are we going to land on? I don't know, but just ask Google, which is what people are doing. They're asking these long tail, or typed out questions um, on Chat GPT. So I thought that was very interesting that Google was advertising. Yes, I have read too that their first time in a cajillion years that their traffic was down. Right. I don't know the
Right.
percentage. I don't know if Chat GPT has surpassed them. I couldn't say I've heard that or not. But I know Chat GPT is like this, like a rocket ship
Yeah.
with usage.
So, so
Question is,
Todd,
when are paid ads coming on Chat GPT, right?
well,
I don't know, but
I know.
I think they're coming at some time. I mean, they got to make money, right? They're not making any money. It's
Well,
like
I
Google didn't make
agree.
any money, right? Until paid ads came along.
So, Todd, I have a question for you, just kind of fun. Do you use ChatGPT as your therapist?
I don't. I have not typed anything for therapy. It's not a bad idea, but um, it's everybody's using it as this new toy too, because you can talk to it on their phone. You can personalize the voice that you want, and you can just start having this conversation. And it's crazy. I use it today. helping me with an email. So I'm on there more and more all the time. I'm still a little old school, even though I'm in this space. We have, we're forced to learn new things. But yeah, I mean, it's addicting because the more you use it, the more.
I
Do you
know.
use it as a therapist? Do you?
That's a great question. I'll totally tell you. So my best friend does, like, she was joking with me and she's like, you should go use it as a therapist. So one night I stay up late and I'm always like, I love going to sites and seeing what's new and what's learning. Like I spend time on Reddit and different sites. And I said, oh, let me try it. So like I started saying some things I would talk to a therapist to see what it would say back. So I texted her. I'm like, this is what it said. It's spot on, right? Well, here's what's funny, Todd. Then that Cloudflare hacking thing happened, I'm like, "No." So I went in, I, like, scrubbed my data, locked everything, did it authenticator because I'm like, "Maybe I shouldn't use ChatGPT as my therapist." I've only done it once, but do you see what
Yeah, no, that's funny.
I thought it was funny, and then I was like, "Wait, I don't want people to know these things," like it's really gonna happen, it's minuscule, but I just thought it was hilarious.
You never know. Cloudflare was a big deal. I mean,
I
we had
know.
sites down. Everybody had sites down, right? We host a lot of sites, but it wasn't anything we were doing. It was just
It was
Cloudflare.
just what happened.
Amazon's hosting services went down, a month or so ago, and that kind of threw everything into a tailspin. So it's a little scary how one little blip can start knocking out big chunks of the web.
Well, I think that if I have to ever go to therapy, I'm just gonna go back to, like, a regular therapist and have them,
Right.
like, not use ChatGPT because 'cause I'm like, "Yeah." It's like I always tell my kids, I'm like, "I grew up in an era where they didn't have the internet." Like, we could go out and do whatever, whatever, especially when we were teenagers. Now, you have to be careful what you post online because you think you delete it, it's still there in some data center, and trust me, if
Oh,
you ever
yeah.
wanna do anything big and important, that stuff can magically appear.
It's all there. I have a senior in college and a freshman, so
Yeah,
in college, and they grew up in that world of iPhones, right? And
right.
so I hope they listen. We didn't listen when we were at their age, but hopefully, because it's there. Whatever you post, it's there somewhere. I don't, so
Well,
they,
Todd,
they've been good. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. This has been really enlightening. I think that there will be a lot of people listening to this episode. So, Todd, can you just share your website really quick? And then wherever you're at listening, like on Spotify or whatever, everything will be down below on how to get a hold of Todd. If you're interested in learning more about what he does or working with him on your website or whatever, SEO, AEO, all of the things, right?
SEO, paid ads, 100%. Yeah, everydaymediagroup.com is where you can find us, and
Awesome.
love to visit with anybody who would like help, just generate more leads to their business and work with an agency that is there to really take care of them and be transparent, right? Provide great service, all those good things. So
Well, thank
thanks
you,
for having
Todd.
me on, Angela.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure. It was a lot of fun. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next episode of Savage Angel.